Jake needs these guys. Jake needs Tyson and needs all these other people, because that everybody's going to tune in to hope that Mike Tyson knocks him out.
Right.
They're not tuning in because they think Jake Paul's a great fighter and they want to see him compete.
Jake Paul's defeat at the hands of Dana White has probably been the most satisfying news since November 15th, especially following that disastrous fight with Mike Tyson. Let's be honest, Dana is the only one with the courage to call it what it was from the start, a total mismatch that never should have taken place in the boxing world.
Mike's 58 years old. You know what I mean?
Right.
I hate doing this because Mike gets mad at me every time I do this, but Mike shouldn't be fighting.
He's been practically shouting at us that this fight was a disaster waiting to happen, but did we listen? Of course not. The mere thought of seeing Mike back in the ring had us on a dopamine high, and now here we are, choking down our humble pie, realizing just how wrong we were.
Actually his age, and was actually a boxer, and was actually his size, he lost.
But don't worry, because now the fearless UFC boss is giving Jake a brutal reality check. And honestly, it's about time our so-called YouTuber turned boxer faced some serious heat.
100%. Fight guys that box for a living and guys that are your age. How about that?
He says he wants to fight Canelo. I'm just saying what he. That's what
I hear you. Then why is he not fighting Canelo?
The funniest thing I heard after this match was Jake talking about fighting Canelo Alvarez. Holy __. Canelo wouldn't waste 30 seconds on this joker. And why should he? While Canelo is fighting real contenders, Jake is busy recycling Butterbean's old playbook, facing opponents who are either too old or too irrelevant to matter. In Dana's eyes, Jake isn't building a boxing career, he's putting on a circus. Even if the Tyson fight happens, it won't change that.
It was actually his age, and was actually a boxer, and was actually his size, he lost.
As for Jake's claims about making massive money, White couldn't resist pointing out the flaws. If Paul were truly the cash cow he claims to be, Showtime Boxing wouldn't have gone under. But hey, who cares about facts when you've got a good Instagram flex to show off?
Mike Tyson was right, and I was wrong. You guys know the whole story about Shark Week, and if you don't, I begged him not to do the Roy Jones fight. You're too old. I love you. I don't want to see you take any more punishment. So I set him up on Shark Week. He got paid good money, and he's like, so he almost flipped out the last day and was ready to kill everybody on the boat because he had to jump in with all these sharks.
First off, Dana did what few are willing to do. He admitted he was wrong. Years ago, he begged Tyson not to fight Roy Jones Jr., fearing the boxing legend would get hurt. "You're too old, Mike. I don't want to see you take punishment," he said. But Tyson didn't want advice, he wanted sharks. Dana had set him up on Shark Week to keep him out of the ring, a big mistake. During the dive, Tyson was ready to strangle everyone on the boat. Apparently, getting thrown in with apex predators wasn't the kind of retirement activity he had in mind. Nearly 60, Tyson decides to fight Jake Paul, and Dana naturally rolls his eyes at the idea. Tyson, ever the showman, claps back. "You really think this kid can do anything to me?" Turns out, Mike was right. Despite his big talk and massive platform, Jake Paul looked like a schoolboy sparring with the principal.
You honestly think the kid's going to do anything to me? He's not good. He's not going to me out. He's not going to do this. And you saw him. He tripped when he was walking down the thing. He had a hard time walking up the stairs. He had a knee brace on. And Jake Paul couldn't do anything to him.
Mike Tyson could barely walk to the ring. He tripped on his way out, needed a knee brace to climb the stairs, and still managed to make Jake Paul look like an amateur. Dana's words were as sharp as Tyson's jabs. Jake Paul couldn't do a thing to him. Nothing. The guy is 57, and he embarrassed him. Naturally, social media had a lot to say, with some calling the fight the greatest con job of all time. Dana, dripping with sarcasm, gave his take. What did you expect? A 60-year-old Mike Tyson to go 12 rounds like it's 1988, or Jake Paul to suddenly become the next Muhammad Ali? Please, the fight streamed for free on Netflix, becoming a major talking point for fans and critics alike. Dana pointed out the obvious. You stayed home, turned on Netflix, and thought you were about to witness the greatest live sporting event of all time? Give me a break. You got exactly what you signed up for. A 57-year-old icon humiliating an influencer who can't punch his way out of a paper bag.
That's because Mike gets mad at me every time I do this, but Mike shouldn't be fighting.
I mean, because you look at Jake Paul, he fought Tyron Woodley, slept him. Anderson Silva, I think he fought Nate. Is there? I mean, if he wants to do boxing, why not fight guys that actually box for a living?
According to Dana, Mike Tyson shouldn't even be fighting. Why? Because Jake Paul, for all his antics, has been out here knocking out MMA retirees like Tyron Woodley, Anderson Silva, and Nate Diaz. Sure, they're legends, but they're not boxers. Dana has a genius suggestion. Maybe Jake should fight actual boxers, people who box for a living. Shocking idea, right? Oh, and how about fighting guys his own age? But no, Jake's out here throwing names around like Canelo Alvarez, which is peak comedy. Dana can't even understand why Jake would bother, or why Canelo would waste his time. Let's face it, Canelo would annihilate Jake in 30 seconds and probably make more money fighting real opponents, all while preserving his credibility. So yeah, not happening for Jake Paul. The fight was supposed to solidify his status as a serious contender, but instead it exposed him. Dana didn't hold back. The kid's not a boxer. He's a content creator who steps into the ring hoping nobody notices how out of his depth he is. Tyson played with him, and Jake still couldn't land a decent shot. If that's what Jake calls a fight, maybe he should stick to YouTube.
I didn't like that.
And Jake Paul couldn't do anything to him. He made a ton of money. And I know people are mad. You stayed home on Saturday night, but you didn't pay for it. You know, this is what Mike Tyson. When Mike Tyson shows up.
Dana White weighed in on the whole Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson circus. Apparently, Mike Tyson, nearly 60, decided to step into the ring with the YouTube kid. Dana thought Jake would get mauled, but Tyson was confident, saying, "He's not doing a thing to me." Spoiler alert, he was right. Jake Paul couldn't touch the guy. Sure, Tyson tripped a bit, but he still walked away with a ton of cash, while everyone else stayed home whining.
Logan Paul, after the fight, people been coming at him. They felt it was disrespectful of him. But he was like, "Mike, I will kill you." I actually was surprised he said that. I really was. I was like, healthy. Okay, whatever.
Let's talk about Logan Paul. After the fight, he caught backlash for saying he'd kill Mike Tyson. Bold words, Logan, real bold. Everyone was surprised, including Dana, who shrugged it off, saying, "Well, that's Logan for you." Then there's the whole ulcer situation. Turns out, Tyson almost died from it. He's out here surviving life-threatening conditions, yet people still expect him to perform like he's 25. Makes total sense, right? Some conspiracy theorists claim the fight was fixed, but wait, there's footage of Tyson hitting pads before the ulcer, looking fast and explosive. Post-ulcer, not so much. Apparently, he went from beast mode to barely standing. Shocking, right? Who knew almost dying might impact performance? But sure, let's just call it a fix because why not?
I love Mike Tyson, you know, personally as a friend, and he's one of my favorite athletes of all time. I don't know, let's see what he can go in there and put together a training camp and come in and, you know, I don't like to see guys fighting it.
Dana loves Mike Tyson. He's his buddy, his favorite athlete, his spirit animal, whatever you want to call it. But even Dana isn't a fan of throwing a 60-year-old Tyson into the ring with Jake Paul. A 31-year age gap? Totally fair fight, right? Classic combat sports matchmaking. But let's pivot to Netflix, because Dana has thoughts. Apparently, the streaming giant has finally ventured into live sports, and Dana's baffled it took them this long. Now, here's where Dana starts connecting dots no one asked for. Reach is on demand. You can watch it whenever you want. It's magical. But live sports? Oh no, you've had to watch that fight live, because God forbid you miss Jake Paul awkwardly jabbing at a guy old enough for senior discounts.
A 31-year age difference during that fight. Just, you guys know what I think of that stuff.
Dana believes live events are the future, and as streaming platforms keep growing, they'll have no choice but to dive into live sports. Bold prediction, Dana. Truly groundbreaking stuff. Then comes the subtle humble brag, because what's a Dana White interview without one? He casually mentions his own TV deal is coming up, as if we didn't already know. He's about to talk to everyone, Netflix, Amazon, maybe even the Weather Channel. If there's a platform out there, Dana's sliding into their inbox. Why? Because live sports, people. He's not about to let anyone forget he's the mastermind behind turning live fights into must-see TV.
Canelo can fight real guys and keep
Yes.
his credibility intact and still make that kind of money. You know what I mean? Jake needs these guys. Jake needs Tyson and needs all these other people because that everybody's going to tune in.
Jake Paul thrives on the circus, the Tyson-type figures, the over-the-hill legends that everyone tunes in to watch, hoping they'll knock him out. People aren't buying pay-per-views because they think Jake's a future champ. They just want to see someone shut him up. Dana even compares Jake to Butterbean. Remember him? The guy who fought nobodies until the gimmick wore thin. Same playbook. Dana predicts if Jake ever gets legitimately beaten, the whole act will crumble, and the novelty will disappear faster than Jake's boxing credentials. So here's the deal. Jake Paul is a marketing genius who doesn't want to fight real boxers. Mike Tyson should probably just stay retired. And Dana White? He's just here, shaking his head at the absurdity of it all. Classic.
Mike Tyson, people talk to. People are there's certain people that are just crazy, man.
Well, these people that think that he don't stand a chance against Jake Paul, they're like, this shouldn't even because he's too old. It's like, I think you're crazy.
Well, they're definitely uninformed.
Yeah,
Because here's the thing: he is 57 years old. He will be 58 when they fight. He has had a long fighting career. He has been knocked out by massive men like Lennox Lewis and Evander Holyfield. You know, he's had a lot of blows, and he's also doing this very unique kind of training with.
Joe Rogan, the voice of modern combat sports, didn't hold back when dissecting the spectacle that was Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul on his podcast. Rogan marveled at the reality of seeing a 58-year-old Tyson face off against a YouTuber-turned-boxer. While he acknowledged Jake's youthful energy and improving skills, Rogan couldn't ignore Tyson's diminished speed and power. Mike still has that head movement, Rogan noted,